really couldn't sing. I could never really sing. What I couldn't do was...
We're here with Chryssie Whitehead, and you have been in a chorus line, and you've done that a couple times now.
Yes,
you were in Company, which was filmed with Neil Patrick Harris. You have been in the Radio City Rockettes. And then TV show-wise, you've been in Grimm, Private Practice, Revenge of the Bridesmaids, which I'm pretty sure is a movie, not a TV show, but I put that on a TV anyway.
It's a TV movie. It's okay. It's a TV movie. It's an ABC Family movie.
Switched at Birth, Castle, Grey's Anatomy, and a whole bunch more. And you've done Cats, Damn Yankees, Gigi, The Producers, Fosse, and a couple more shows. And then you've done the documentary Every Little Step, which is for a chorus line. And then you have a lot of teaching that you do for dance and theater around the country, which is great.
And outside of the country, I was just in Australia.
So how did you get started with dancing in theater?
I was 3 when I was put into a dance studio. Our recitals were in a roller skating rink back in Columbia, South Carolina, which is where I'm from. And my tap teacher was tap, and her name was Helen Tilton Kearney, and she was the most joyful dance teacher, probably one of the most joyful dance teachers I've ever had, actually. But I just remember her with her big red hair. She taught clogging too, and I never took clogging. And then she had a smile up to here, and made dancing really fun. So my mom just put me in tap, and so I did it 3, 4, and 5, and then after that, I just kept going because I loved it so much. And then I met Susan Anderson around like 8, 9, 10. Started studying with her privately from USC. And then I went on to Columbia City Ballet and all that kind of good stuff. So, and then Southern Strut Dance Studio. So it's been I just loved to dance. I couldn't stop, and I wanted to do it every day. Yeah, I was really a hard worker, real hard worker. Yeah, and then for theater, I just auditioned for Annie when I was 10. And I got One of the Orphans, and I loved it, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And then when I was 14, it gave me the bug really when I did chorus line for the first time at community theater at Workshop.
What are the auditions like with a musical that has a lot of dancing, like a chorus line?
Oh, yeah. Well, chorus line, you can see it in the Every Little Step, but the documentary that was made. But the first thing that they did was type you, because it's a specific show.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking for specific people. But then after that, you had to do like a double pirouette. Honestly, a double classical pirouette and a line, and that's it. And then after that, you would get a ballet combination, which is the actual ballet combination in the show. And then you get cut after that, if you get cut. And then they give you the jazz combination, which is the opening number. And then if they like you, especially if it's a new show, it took a year for them to cast a chorus line, because they looked all over the country and 3,000 people auditioned. But that's like not the norm. Normally you'll probably go in a few times before you actually land a Broadway show. But for any musical audition, kind of just go in, learn a combination, see if you can pick it up really quickly, and then add some style and some sass and some fun to it, so that they can, because I just choreograph too, so I've been on the creative side as well. We're just looking for people who are just game and open and ready to play, but also talented.
What was it like being able to work with Marvin Hamlisch?
Pretty spectacular. He is a gem. He was the nicest man. So kind, so giving, so supportive of our cast. We just throw parties for us, and just an incredibly talented, gifted, but nice man, and that's very important.
Multiple times at the workshop that I did with you, you said that rejection was your best friend. How do you deal with rejection, and how do you use it towards your next audition?
Well, I've been in this business for 17 years, and that's 17 years of a lot of auditions, right? Rejection is your best friend because you can't take it personally. You just can't. They're not rejecting you, Claire, personally. They don't know who you are, and they're like, okay, all of Claire, we want to go away. We don't want it. It's more like we're products, because like we pay. Why do we go to the movies? Why do we go to theater? Because we want to be entertained. So we're paying money for these products to entertain us, and that's us. So sometimes you're going to fit the show, and sometimes you're not, and you have to be realistic. So sometimes actors are not realistic about what they're right for. You're not going to be right for every part. So rejection has to be your best friend. You're just not. There's a huge gamut of characters out there and people to play. And sometimes people are going to be more right for it than others. So you just kind of, you get ready. I had a teacher tell me that. She was like when I was 15 or 16, I wrote it in my journal, you can't take this business personally. And it really stuck with me because I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's right. They don't know me. It's just a matter of whether or not I fit for what they're looking for, you know? And you always can't be like, what are they looking for? You just have to do your work, be prepared for your audition, meaning have you broken down your songs? Have you figured it out how to act that song? Are you prepared when you go to have you practiced it, you know? And are you in your dance classes so that when you start to learn combinations, you're quick, your motor skills are running and they're fast so you can pick up fast? And just get prepared. There is rejection. There's a lot of it. And some people don't have the skin for it. They just don't. And that's okay. Sometimes people come in and they're like, wow, no, I really can't. I can't keep getting rejected. And it's a very, very tough business, but rewarding a lot of the time.
So if you weren't in the business right now, what would you be doing?
Well, the funny that you asked me that, it's what I love, which is teaching. And I'm doing that right now. I choreographed a lot this year, which was really fun. I choreographed Grease. So creating. So I'm still kind of in the business, but I'm not really, I'm loving that. And I'm going back to school too right now. So I'm living in New York City. I'm back in my town where I went to school. I went to AMDA. And I'm going to be teaching at AMDA this fall. And I'm choreographing for AMDA. And I'm teaching at National Dance Institute. And I love to teach. I love to pass it on. It's just, it's the art form, right? So it's the people that you see that you get inspired by, right? And I was inspired by people before me, like, oh my gosh, I want to do that, you know? and I love to be able to help people just be able to do their best. That's really what I care about, is like really pushing students to be their absolute best, whether that be in acting, singing, dancing, you know, you name it. So I'm kind of doing what I want to do, so that's kind of cool.
What role would you like to reprise one day, if it could be any role that you've done?
Oh, a role that I've already done?
Yes.
Oh. Wow. I really liked playing Christine. She was really fun, and she was a lot like me, and that was really fun. Kathy would be fun. Kathy would be fun to do again.
What was it like working with Neil Patrick Harris in company?
He is everything you think he is. He is everything that everybody loves about him. He is in person, honestly. He is so real and so kind and so giving and so loving and so charismatic, and a hard worker too. You know, the man works hard. I loved every second of it. I learned a lot by working with him. I did.
What do you do when you have sore muscles and you have to go back the next day and do the same thing all over again?
You ice after every show, and you make sure that you're taking good care of it. You take ibuprofen. You go to physical therapy. We have a physical therapist that was working with us, and they provided the company. And you roll, you know, the rollers, you roll out your muscles. You just have to take really good care of your body. I mean, 8 shows a week is no joke. And doing the same thing over and over again is where you hurt yourself. Because your right and your left are not balanced out. So you're always doing the right kick instead of the left. So, yeah, it's maintenance. That's where your job comes in. Your job is to be on stage every night, you know. So you're an athlete. So you got to take care of yourself. Water, drink tons of water. You know, stay hydrated and strong.
For those who strive to be on Broadway, how important is it for them to take classes?
Oh my gosh. You should be in class all the time. Until you get a Broadway show. But Broadway is not the end all to be all, I will say. There is so much work out there in the country, regionally. And Broadway is just a very small portion of it. And yes, that can always be a dream of yours. It was a dream of mine. But I've gotten such fulfillment of just doing theater anywhere. There's cruise lines, you know, there's Disneyland, there's Disney World, you know, there's so much out there that you can do and you can perform for a living. So if you don't get to Broadway, it's totally okay. Like, there's so much out there. I know a lot of people that didn't do Broadway and are working in all kinds of things, you know. dancing on television, acting, all this kind of stuff. So
What are things that casting directors look for when you go in for auditions?
that you're prepared, that you're on time, and that you bring yourself. For TV, you bring yourself to the role. Like, you don't act for schmack. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You bring, because there's no one made like you, so you're very unique, and so what you're going to bring to the plate, if you trust that, is going to be enough. They're just looking for you to be great. And sometimes you don't know what they're looking for, so you just have, your job is not to book a job, your job is to audition well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have control of how good you feel in your audition. You worked on it, you're memorized, you're ready to go. But as far as booking it, that's way out of your control. So casting directors want to get a cast, and they want you to be good. So keep that in mind when you go in. People want you to be good. People want to hire you. People want to get the cast done, We want a good cast. It's never like, prove me. It's not that at all. It's more like, please help me so we can make a great product.
What was it like dancing with the Radio City Rockettes?
It was great, yeah. I did it at such a young age. I mean, I was a Rockette right at 18, right out of high school in LA. And then living with like a 30-year-old, maybe not a 30, maybe she was like late 20s, but just very young in a big adult world, pretty quick. And then I did it in New York as well. And that was pretty special because it was on Radio City Music Hall. And then I got to do it again at Radio City when we did the Tonys there, which was so incredible for Chorus Line and for company, actually. It's pretty incredible to be part of a historical thing like the Rockettes. I love doing the tours. I did the tours where you can do the Radio City Rockette tour.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever done that? Have you been in New York at all?
I've been to New York twice, and we're going this February, and we're thinking of doing something like that. But it is going to be freezing, so we're looking for things to do inside.
Yes. Well, there's a tour of Radio City, and in the tour, you knock on a Rockette's dressing room door, and the Rockette pops out, and in an old-fashioned like Rockette costume, and it's so cute, and I love it. And what I loved about it was hearing the older generation just be like, I used to come all the time. They would do a movie. They would open up for a movie, the Rockettes, and so it's an honor to be called it. Say I'm a Rockette. Yeah, absolutely.
Ashlyn would like to know how you do your character work.
I start from myself first. Start with myself. So I look at the story and I say, what is this girl? What is this woman? What is she in? What circumstance is she in? Have I been in a circumstance like that? What does it feel like to be nervous or excited from me first? Mm-hmm. And then I build on top of that.
That is all the questions I have. Great. So thank you for joining us. And we will have a link to your website and your Facebook down below. And thank you.